What is going on, guys? Your boy Joey 6M2 coming to you guys with a video right now. So I want to go over some of the news that happened the other day. We had some words from Lane Johnson the other day, talking about why he's been out the past couple weeks. Kind of sent a message out to the fans explaining about depression and stuff like that. And trust me, I know what that's like. There's a lot of people in the world that go through it. And as a football player, taking off the past couple weeks, I didn't care. I mean, you come first before anything. Your family comes first before anything. Your mental health comes first before anything that you do in life. There's nothing against Lane Johnson for being out the past couple weeks. I mean, even if this team's losing, winning, it didn't matter to me as long as he gets better and gets right. That's all that matters. So I'm happy to get Lane Johnson back. There's some people out there who don't think Lane Johnson should start this week or should play this year. I mean, some people think he's trade bait this year. I mean, I don't know what to say about it. They've been moving a lot of guys. I think the good thing about, obviously it's a bad situation for Lane Johnson, obviously, but I think the good thing about, having other guys, even having injuries on the offensive line, it's not great. It's not a good thing, obviously, but, guys get to cross train. You get to see what guys can do. He just paid Jordan Mailata this year. So, now he moved to right tackle. First start wasn't great. And then actually looks pretty good. And then kind of talk about Andre Dillard on the left side. I didn't think has been perfect, no, but I think he's done a lot better than I thought he was going to play, which is good. Isaac Seumalo's still out, so you got Herbig playing at guard, you got Driscoll playing at guard. So it's interesting. It's really interesting. Driscoll could be your future right tackle. Herbig could play both guard spots. I think he plays better. I think on the right side he plays better. I'm not sure. It's just you got to get your reps in. And I think this is where you find, the more you cross-train on the offensive line. See, if you're an offensive lineman, the more the more positions you could play on the offensive line, the more value you're going to have to the team. And that's a really good thing. So to see Mailata play from left to right. And, after one struggled game, I would have to say, I think Mailata's played pretty good. And Dillard, like I said, not perfect, but a lot better than I thought he was going to play. He has given up a couple sacks, but at this point, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse as of right now. Do I think Lane Johnson is definitely trade bait next year? Like I said before, definitely not. I don't know. I could say definitely not, but he's not. There's a lot of other guys I would trade before Lane Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, you need that grizzled vet on your offensive line, and it really depends if Jason Kelce does retire. Landon Dickerson, I really like Landon Dickerson at left guard a lot. I don't know why. Especially in the future, if they could put Dickerson next to Mailata, it would be fantastic. If Kelce does stay next year, it would be good. But there's a lot of other players on this team I would definitely trade. Before Lane Johnson is even a candidate of that. I just don't think. I don't think it's going to happen. But you never know. It's not one of my highlighted trades that I would be like, oh yeah, Lane Johnson's got to go. It's not one of those. I think Lane Johnson's still one of the best right tackles for his age. Obviously, we have to get younger, and we need to get guys to step up behind him. I think Driscoll would be a good candidate to step up right behind him. With the more reps he does get, hopefully Jeff Stoughton is the offensive line coach next year. So, there's a lot of different things that can happen with this offensive line. But as far as, Mailata, playing at right tackle, one bad game and then kind of getting used to it. So I think the cross training is good for the guys, obviously. But then when you think about, you're going to be paying Josh Sweat next year, you're going to be paying Jordan Mailata next year, and Dallas Goedert's probably going to get an extension now, most likely because Zach Ertz just got traded to the Cardinals. So there's a lot going on with that. Okay. Now, in other news, obviously we knew that Travis Fulgham got released, a few days ago, last week, whatever it was. So the Eagles worked out a receiver, Deon Cain, that worked in Nick Sirianni's system at the Colts for a year and a half. I think he's only logged in 9 receptions for 124 yards, 13.8 receptions. 13.8 average yards and 0 touchdowns as of right now. So obviously, we've had some mixed feelings about the wide receiver crew. And then I think in the article it said, quote unquote, Deon Cain has worked in Nick Sirianni's system, which I don't know what type of system we're running here because we have no identity whatsoever offensively. But it's interesting to say that, at least they're adding some bodies, and obviously it's players that they can hold on to next year as well for competition next year, depending on what happens with the GM, what happens to the coaching staff, the quarterback, whatever happens next year, whatever changes that are made, if changes are actually made, is something to definitely watch out for. So, don't know what, look, Travis Fulgham was a great player last year and didn't really show up in practice. Didn't show up in in practice last year in training camp and OTAs and stuff like that. He didn't show up last year, and this year he didn't show up either. He kind of just got into a game, and then for 8 games he was just a complete beast, and then, just had a bad camp this year, didn't show up, and, never really got the opportunity. But obviously there's a lot of political stuff in the same thing because, you still have J.J. Arcega-Whiteside still in this offense, which I don't know why at this point, which we can get to a whole nother conversation about, but we know. So they're adding more receivers. They added a corner with Tay Gowan in the trade for the Arizona Cardinals, and we got, was able to trade Zach Ertz for a 5th-round pick. So we're adding more bodies at the same time. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So Lane Johnson, is back. What they're going to do with him? They put him at right tackle, put him a lot at left tackle, getting things back to normal with the offensive line. Do you think Lane Johnson could be up for the, maybe trade bait for later on? I'm not saying by the trade deadline, but at least, maybe next year has it come to your mind that Lane Johnson could be a target next year, maybe, to trade. So I don't know. And then Cain is added to the practice squad, more competition at wide receiver, obviously. So other than that, that's pretty much it. I will see you guys later. Shakes, what up, Files 5. Peace out, guys. Peace.